Hello everyone and welcome to this new PopcornFX tutorial. My name is Paul Baron and today I will be showing you how to create a crowd effect using PopcornFX 2.14. So since 2.14 we've added a feature where you can render particles as skin mesh, and I will be showing you how to use this feature, how to play animations, random animations, how to transition between animations, and basically create a crowd of characters doing different animations at the same time, and keeping good performances in real time. So yeah, sorry in advance for the background noise. I'm recording this from a server room where there are some servers just behind me, so it might not be ideal, but it will do for now. So first of all, I'll start by opening the samples pack. This is a package that showcases a few PopcornFX effects that you can directly download on our store, on our marketplace. It's completely free, and it just includes some assets and some sample effects. And the reason why I'm starting from this pack is because it includes Popman, which is a FBX file with a basic mesh with a character basically casting a spell. I won't be using the spell casting animation here, so I've just unchecked the import animation. I just want like the typos, and I'll be importing animations directly from Mixamo. So to do that, I've just imported the FBX file right here in Mixamo, as you can see. And you can just then choose animations to play on it. So you can upload the character here, select the Popman file here, and then browse Mixamo animations. And I had the idea of doing a dancing crowd, so that's why I'm browsing the dance animations here. And yeah, so I've already downloaded a few of those here. And I'll just download one more, so we have 4 animations to play with. Yeah, I think I like the chicken dance. It's pretty silly and ridiculous. Perfect. So let's download this. Nothing to change here. So of course I'm using Mixamo because I'm not a 3D artist and I have no idea how to create animations. So Mixamo is very useful when you don't want to do anything basically. So yeah, just download the FBX, no changes in the settings, and yeah, have it here. So I get my 4 FBX files here, and I should be able now to import those FBX files in PopcornFX. So let's drag and drop those files here, and they are now imported here. And what we want to do, so the way this feature works is that it's gonna take the animation and it's gonna bake those in a texture, and basically we're gonna sample the animation at a certain frame rate, and the texture will allow us to just sample the animation where the animation cursor is at, and without recomputing the whole bone hierarchy and etc. So it keeps good performances, and you can bake multiple animations in the same texture. So let's do this. I reopen my base mesh, so with the typos and the geometry of the mesh. And from there, I'll click the Export Animation to Texture button. So the first browse window it opens is to choose where to save the texture. So I'll just go in my texture folder, and I'll call that Dance Animations. Save. Next, it's gonna ask you to choose the animations file. So I'm just gonna select all the animations that I've already downloaded here, but not the spell casting, because it's the current one which is open, and I don't really care about having like the spell casting animation in the middle of the dance moves. It would be kind of weird. So let's open those. And as you can see, those are all red. And the reason why they are all red is because they are not imported properly in PopcornFX. So I've added this bake button here so that you can bake those animations directly here, those files directly here, but you can also just go to the files, like for example here the silly dancing is not baked, as you can see it doesn't play any animation, and you just click re-import and make sure you have the import animation checked and the import skeleton checked, and yeah, it should just import the animation. So let's go back to our export animation to texture. So I redo the texture, sorry, dance animations. Now I'll select the correctly baked animations right there. So as I showed you, you don't have to go to each FBX and click re-import. You can just click the bake button here, which does the same thing. So one thing to mention is that the order of the animation indices is very important, because you have like the index here on this column, and the index is the index that will be used in the node graph to specify which animation you want to play. So you can reorder the animation as you wish here. Just choose an order that makes it easy to choose similar animations in your graph. For example, I don't know, just do as you wish depending on the effect you want to do. So here, index 0 will be the hip hop, 1 Roomba, 2 silly, and 3 the chicken dance. Next, we need to choose like a file format for texture, and by default it's a PNG file format, which is 8-bit per channel. And the issue with 8-bit per channel is that as we are going to store the bone transformations in this texture, having just 8-bit per channel will create a very chunky animation, and you will see the positions and the rotation snap to the 256 values that are possible for positions and rotations. So that's not ideal. Ideally we want at least 16-bit per channel to have a smooth animation. So here I choose the EXR file format, which is a 16-bit, which is basically a HDR file format. And by default we are using the FP16 format. So each channel will be stored on 16 bits, and that should be enough to have like a smooth animation. I also choose the EXR format because it's the only HDR format that we currently support in the Unity plugin. Then we need to choose the animation sample count. So this is, So this is how many samples the texture will have of the animations. So for example, let's say here we have around 5 seconds. The longest of all those animations is around 5 seconds. You can say like around 25 frames per second, so we can say 128 animation samples count. It seems good. And as it's also the horizontal dimension of the texture, having a power of 2 here is might be better, even if our texture won't be power of 2 in the Y dimension. Still better. And here we have the use bones scale checkbox. So if you have a skin animation where the bones are not of constant length, you can check this, and it will also encode in the texture the scale of the different bones. So let's export this texture. Now that we've set up all the parameters, I'll just click export, and here you get this pop-up that appears telling you that a renderer node has been copied to your clipboard. And so basically you will be able to just paste it in a node graph and have it correctly set up for these animations. So I click OK. And now we can switch to creating an effect to have this dancing crowd. So I create a new effect, I go to empty effects, and I'll call it dancing crowd. Let's go. I can drag this link and create a new layer. And as I said, as the renderer is copied to our clipboard, the first thing we are going to do is paste it here in the graph. So here you get the correctly set up renderer. So it's basically a mesh renderer using a specific material, which is the animated mesh material, and correctly set up with a lot of parameters that you cannot guess, like the animation bounds and the texture resolutions and stuff. So this might change in the future. Maybe you'll find an easier way to pass informations from the texture to the actual effects, because that's definitely not ideal to have to paste the renderer each time. But anyway, so as you can see, if I respawn the effect here, so I get the life of 1 second, so that's why it disappeared. Let's put an infinite life template. So now if I respawn the effect, you have the first frame of the first animation, which is playing. So we'll enable the lit feature on our mesh to have it lit up by the directional lights of the scene. And as you can see here, you have 2 parameters that you can change per particle, which are the animation cursor, which is basically a value between 0 and 1, defining where in the animation you are, 0 being the beginning and 1 being the end of the animation. And you have the current animation, which is between 0 and 3, because we have 4 animations here. So 0 is the first one and 3 is the last one. So here I think it's the chicken dance. Yeah, yes it is. So we get the chicken dance. So we'll see how to play those animations now automatically, because here you have the input pin animation cursor and current anim track, and we need to plug something in those. So to do that, you will find the link to a PopcornFX package right below in the description of this video. And in this package, you should have a bunch of templates that will help you manipulate animations in PopcornFX. So I'm just going to import those templates here. I get the animated mesh utils.pkkg, and I import those templates here. Know that those templates are imported. I can drop the main template to play animation, which is just called PlayAnimation. So this template is pretty simple. It basically takes as input an animation index, and it will output the current anim track and the animation cursor. So the goal of this is to handle animation speeds, but also animation transition and etc. in the same template. So I'll show you how this works. So in our case, you can set up the animation counts you have. So here we get 4 animations, so I just set this up to 4. Right now it's limited to 10 animations, but that's just the way the template is designed. It's not a hard limit. You can change the template to handle 20 or 50 animations if you want to. So just put 4 animations, and now for each animation, as you can see here, you can select the duration, and if you want the animation to loop or if you want it to freeze on the last frame. So I basically want all those animations to loop eventually. And now we have to set up the animations durations. So that might be a little painful to do, but by hovering the FBX you should have the animation durations. And so it should be about, this one is 2.2, 2.3, 3.8. Okay. 2.2, 2.3, 3.8, and the last one is chicken, which is 4.7. So So let's just check that I didn't do any mistake in my animation ordering. So Roomba dancing should be animation number, so this one, sorry, this one is 2.3 seconds. So Roomba dancing should be animation number 2. Let's try this out. Let's try this out. Animation number 2. And does it looks like a Roomba? I'm not sure. Is that it? No, not at all. So that's the, nope, that's the city dancing, I guess. Yeah, that's the city dancing, and the city dancing is 3.8. Okay. So I've just mixed up those two, and that should be alright. Yeah, sorry about that. So now we have our animation set up with the correct duration for each one of those. And you can just give this template an animation index, and it will output, as I said, the cursor and the current anim track. So there are lots of parameters to this template. Right now we're just going to focus on the two outputs, which are animation cursor playing and animation index playing. So animation cursor, will plug that in animation cursor, and animation index in current anim track. And there we have our character automatically dancing. So here it's just gonna dance with the first animation, index 0, and it will loop, as we said that the animation should loop. So how can we change the animation randomly during the time? So how can we do that? So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna drop a random node here, and we know that we have 4 animations, so we can generate a value between 0 and 4, which will make a range between 0 and 3.999999, which is which will be floored in the PlayAnimation to choose the animation index. So like 3.99999 will be 3, the third animation, so the last one. So you can see the value range here is 0 included and 4 excluded. Anyway, just plug that here. And now every time we will restart our effects, because this is executed at spawn, so at start, when the effect starts, each time we restart our effects, the character will play a different animation, as you can see. So I'm just restarting the effect here, and completely randomly it will play an animation. So the Roomba seems pretty slow here, but maybe I've mixed up this one and this one, I'm not sure. Nope. No, it was okay. Okay. It was just a slow animation. My bad. Yeah. So we have the animations playing, but it will still loop exactly on the same animation. If I put the time up, you can see it will only do this move forever and just loop. So what we can do is change this random node to be executed at evolve, and so it will produce a random value each frame, and so the animation will change each frame. So you will see indeed it will be weird because it will just never know what to play. So let's change it to evolve, and here each frame is just randomly changed to another animation. No transition, nothing, just changes. So it's not exactly each frame because there are some parameters that makes it not able to change the animation index until a certain time. But basically just plays completely random animations. So we want the animations to be played until the end. So in the play animation here, you can just check the play animations until end, and it will wait until the end of the animation before playing the next one. So here we now have a character that actually plays random animation and switch from one to another and waits to finish the animation before starting a new one. But as you can see, in between animation, you can see a jump. It just jumps from one animation to another. And that's quite an issue because we want a smooth transition, ideally. We want a smooth transition from one animation to another. So how can we do that? So there are a bunch of render features here that you can enable, and I'll try to explain a few of those. So the first one is, let's slow down the time here, and if I slow down the time by a lot, you can kind of see that it's laggy. It's like reading the animations frame one after the other without any interpolations, so it looks very laggy, you know. If I put the time really slow, you can see it jumps from one frame to another. So we have this skeletal animation interpolate feature that you can enable here, and when I check it, yeah, now the animation is completely smooth and is trying to interpolate between frames. So there is a cost, like a GPU cost to this. It's not free in terms of performances. So this should be enabled only if you can really see the chunkiness of the animation in your final use case. So here we have the smooth animation here. And now let's try to fix the jumping from one animation to another, because it's still jumping up. To do that, we have this skeletal animation interpolate tracks feature, and if you enable this feature, it will pop a bunch of new inputs for the renderers, which are the next anim track, the transition ratio, and the next animation cursor. And basically, this allows you to smoothly transition from one animation to another. So until now we were using the animation cursor playing and animation index playing output pins from this template. But let's plug the current animation cursor. Now that we've enabled the interpolate anim tracks, we can use the current anim cursor, current anim indexed, next anim index, transition ratio, and next anim cursor. So those are the 4 inputs that you need to plug in your mesh render. And now, when the animation index changes, it will look at the transition duration, which is half a second here, it's in seconds, and it will lerp between the two animations during 0.5 seconds. So here you can see it's kind of weird transitions, because if we wanted to do real well done transitions, we would need to recompute the whole skeleton of the mesh. So here there are some scaling happening in the transition, which should not be happening in the real skin mesh system. But this completely removes the jumping from one animation to another, and really smoothly transition the mesh from the last frame of the animation to the next animation. So those are the basic features for the skin mesh renderer node. So let's spawn a few of those guys on a grid. I can just insert a grid placement, spawn on grid node here, and we'll do 10 by 10, 10 by 10, and let's give them like 3 meters each or something like that. Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah. Like 5 by 5 maybe. Yeah, of course. What am I doing? I completely forgot to set up the local position to world. So of course it's still regular particles, and you need to have like the local position to world to transition from local space to world space here, because you want the grid placement to give the information of the location. So here we are. So that may be, yeah, 20 by 20 and 10 by 10, something like that. Here we are. So here we have all those guys dancing. They all dance. They are all doing different animations. But one artifact we can see pretty clearly is that when you restart the effect, sorry, I'll just make them a bit closer. When you restart the effect, some of those animations are completely synchronized, like those two here. At first, they were, or those two here. So because they play the animation from the beginning of the animation, so if they have the same random animation index at start, they will start exactly at the same time. So to fix this issue, we have an animation start offset at spawn, which will set up an offset in the first animation that is played. So I just show this pin here, and I can plug a random node on it, and just select a value between 0 and 1, so that each animation either starts at the beginning or at the end or anywhere in the middle, and it will avoid this weird synchronization that starts when the animation are starting playing. So let's try this, and yeah, as you can see, none of those are no synchronized. They are all doing their thing at different times. They all have different cursors, so yeah. So I think that's it for the first part of this tutorial, where I show you how to quickly set up crowd effect, and hopefully you will be able to play a bit with it and give us feedbacks on what you think is tedious to do, or what you think is nice. It's always good to hear feedbacks from our users. So yes, do not hesitate to post on our Discord or post a comment directly on this video for more information. That's it. Thank you very much for watching, and have a good day. Bye.